Alright, hello everybody, it is Julian Bass here. Recently I posted these 3 TikTok videos. Check them out.
So I'm a jerk, huh? Well, I guess I am a junior, educated, rich kid.
Okay, that was probably a bad idea to play them all at the same time, but we will be going through those one by one because you guys love to ask me what app I use to make these videos. And to be honest with you, it's not that simple. But never fear, the VFX breakdown is here. So this, first of all, is After Effects, Adobe After Effects. This is version CS6. I haven't updated because I really just haven't needed to, but it's great. Now, I don't necessarily want to recreate the wheel, but I'm gonna take you through each of the compositions and all of the things that you see in the video and kind of explain to you what went into making it. This is going to be a little difficult though, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. After Effects is holding a lot in its hands here, as you can see from all these compositions and all these little things that I pre-composed. But we're gonna have to go to maybe half resolution here, just so I could scrub through things maybe a little quicker and show you what I'm working with. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. So first we're gonna go through this one where I slice up the words. Here is the first video.
No, wait.
Sunny D, look at me. Why was the wall glitching?
That wasn't me, that was the app. I'm just tired of explaining this to you.
Yeah, so there was the video if you weren't familiar with it already. So step 1, people were saying, hey, how did you cut up the text from the app? But really all I did was I went to Snapchat and I made a green background. And then I put that green background into a TikTok in the drafts and put the text over it and took screenshots. So if I double click here, you'll see this is the green background over the TikTok text. And then I was able to bring it in here and resize it and position it into the perfect spot. Now, you'll see I have a lot of camera movement in my videos. A lot of people who are familiar with After Effects and camera shake know about the slider control here. And this is a little wiggle expression that'll make the camera wiggle every time I want it to. And the slider expression just controls how much it wiggles. Boom, bam, done. Now, here's the goody goodies. Here we are. Here's everything that you need to know. I have one pre-keyed footage layer here, which is these little sparks that you see fly out. That is from Footage Crate. They have great elements over there at Footage Crate. But when I'm trying to make my effects, I usually don't use a lot of overlays, just because I want to tailor them really just specifically to what I'm trying to do. If I ever find an overlay that is a sword coming from a purple, I guess, beam, then you guys let me know. It'll make my job 10 times faster. But here you go. You see the sparks right there. That is an overlay. I put VC color vibrance, which is you're gonna see all over the place. Put that in there to make it a little magenta purple-ish. And I clap and it goes poof. Then you see an optical flare. That optical flare is probably this bad boy right here. Nope, that is the particle layer. It's probably this bad boy right here. Nope, that is the vignette. It's this bad boy. Nope. Yes, this is the bad boy. Awesome. I need to really label my things and be more organized, but we'll talk about that later. This is the optical flare. Oh my god. Boom. There it's gone. Boom. There it is. Optical flares is a plugin you can get from Video Copilot. It is probably my favorite plugin. It makes everything look better, sweeter, cooler. So all I did here was I added this optical flare on top of, which is the next biggest element important to this, the saber plugin. If I make everything around it disappear, I'm gonna take the saber and I'm gonna show you what it is. All the saber is this light beam here, and you're gonna see I use saber in the other things as well. Saber is a really cool plugin. It is really typically used to make lightsabers or other energy effects, but as you see I used it here just to make this, like, you know, this purple light that was going to be our sword. I had this kind of idea from Scott Pilgrim, if you've ever seen it. The swords light up with fire and stuff. That's basically where this is coming from. So I clap, and then the saber starts to animate out, and I just tracked it to my hands and enlarged it. So this saber is following these core starts and ends here. So if I hit U on the keyboard, you'll see here's the keyframes that I animated the saber to. I just rotated it a bit here. One of the things I wanted to make sure while I was rotating is that the energy was always going upwards, because that's just what energy does, right? So I made sure the energy was always going upwards by timing up the rotation of the wind direction of the core distortion and glow distortion to match with the rotation of the entire layer. And there you have it. You have a core. And then if you add to that core some beautiful flare and the finishing touch, a beautiful trap code particular layer, you get this really, really nice saber. Boom. So this is the next element that I really want to talk to you about is trap code particular, something I didn't use in the other two videos, so this is going to be the quick crash course here. Particular is a Red Giant plugin that you can get. It's third party as well for After Effects, and it is basically a particle systems generator and animator and whatever the pros call it. But I used it here to kind of give more of an atmosphere to the saber here as it moves, because it looks kind of dull without the particles there kind of shooting off, and I didn't want them to be like embers from a fire. I wanted them to be a little more supernatural, so I died down some of the velocity of them and gave it a turbulent displace so that you see right here, if I turn up to full, basically if it wasn't glowing it would kind of look like flower petals kind of coming off this saber here. The same plugin is used to create the sparks when I open up the saber from its smallest point to its longest point. So as I open it, this one was more like embers, sparks flying. You see they're going all the way out there and creating more of that motion, movement, energy. It's bursting from the saber. And I used it one more time to create the aura around the sword. So if I select everything here and turn everything back on, we're going to find our sword. There it is. It's all dark and gloomy. Here's particular. And I did the same thing with the purple aura, but I made it black because I guess I was just the best the sword is black. I mean, what else am I gonna do? I did the same thing, but blurred it out a little bit so it's a little more of like a smoky-ish look. The way that I was able to get these, I hit the mic. The way that I was able to get these particles to emanate from where I wanted them to and to track the sword, as you see, I pull it around me and the particles are kind of going with where the sword is. I created a particle emitter, which is basically this simple shape here. As you see, it's just a flat shape right now. But if I go back into the pre-comp, you will see that the particle emitter is 3D. It is animated in 3D space because I wanted to get these particles to move accordingly. Also, it has to be in 3D space because this trapcode particular works in 3D space. So an emitter has to be 3D and it'll create a emitter light here, which I'm not even sure has to be there, but it does it automatically and it's invisible, so who cares? The next thing you might have noticed is that there are these lines here, these like kind of anime looking lines. Similar to the ones that I had in my anime basketball video.
Look, the police! What? Where?
As you can see there. Here I just used a displacement map. Here's my displacement reference. If I double click here, you'll see here are some lines, just using fractal noise and getting the job done pretty easily there. Throwing those lines here, using that as my displacement reference, and then putting a displacement map on the pre-composition. Then I doubled those up and made them a little opaque, so that you could at least see some of the air as well. Bingo, bango, bongo, you got yourself some beautiful lines. The next stage of this would be pre-comp 6, when it zooms in to my face and everything. So for the motion of the camera, it's rather easy. It's just really keyframing and animating the scale and position and throwing on a beautiful easy ease with some motion blur to give you that nice little zoom look. I'm not gonna delve deep into that. That's just basic stuff. But here is something interesting that you guys loved to look at, was the cut up text. Basically, I took those green screen images that I had before and dropped them in here, cut them up by using masks. So if you see right here, this is just duplicated a bunch of times, and then I used the same mask layer and added some sabers onto each of the edges here, as you see. So if I go back here, you'll see they pop right back out. It's the same saber plugin that created the sword in the first place. It's just died down. There's no particles, and it's just smaller to fill the edges, almost like if something was cut with a lightsaber. Then, as you see, I have trapcode particular go off one more time to show when they disappear. I added both the purple and black particles for this portion of the shot. There they are. Hello, particles. You are looking especially beautiful today. What I did to make those was the emitter in fact, was the shapes themselves so that the particles would emit from these cutouts of the shape. And so after you get all of that done, you can bring it and add some camera shake and everything. And then you got yourself a video. Oh, right, you forgot. There's another version of me here. The easiest part here was creating the clone of me. The way this video was shot was that I started the video here, went to the middle where I said weird, and then started, looking here and there and doing everything. So here's the original clip, actually.
Yeah, but why was the wall glitching? Okay. Weird. Oh. What? Oh, no. Wait.
I also didn't have anybody to help drop the sword into my hands, so I kept my feet planted and reached over off screen to grab the sword and threw it up in the air and caught it. And that is where the actual cut in the video is. The loop is created by just starting the video and ending the video on the same frame. And then I put these two clips together using some simple masking, feathering, had to fix the sword a bit because it was way too close to my body when I first stepped in. And that's it. That is your first video. Now the second one is also in the same place, but this is infinitely easier to make than the other one before it. So if we take a look here, now here is what I shot. Yeah, I know, it's a little demoralizing. I did not even know this hand signs. The reason I was able to do these so fast was because I used time remapping. Gotta love it. If I hit U on the keyboard, you'll see these keyframes. And this is every time that I had to speed up the clip to make my hands go as fast as they needed to. And to hide some of that remapping, I added a CC Force motion blur, which turned up my render time by like 30 million years for some reason. And that got me the hand signals. And here are the words. Just put some text on the screen. That's literally it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Super easy. Awesome. Then, oh yeah, the part that you've been waiting for. This behind me is another optical flare. Remember those from the last part? Optical flares are beautiful. This is what it looks like with the optical flare and without the optical flare. With and without. Oh wait, that's the one in my hand. Here's the one behind me. Yeah, that's a big difference. Here's the optical flare, and you'll see I use that same technique for the third video that we're gonna go to in a sec. Here's the optical flare here, but I'll turn that off so we can focus on this next part. Saber comes back again. This time I use the Firestorm. Oh my God. The Firestorm that's optical flares. The Firestorm preset for Saber here. You see I also masked out my body and just did a quick little animation on the mask. You see I moved the mask paths just a little bit to match my body, and I duplicated that, put it onto a white solid, and had the saber follow the mask paths. Now if I get rid of myself in this clip, doesn't that kind of look like the Human Torch? I feel like I could do a really cool Human Torch effect here. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you would want to see me try. Never done anything like that before. Seems like it would be really hard, but I love a challenge. Unlike somebody sorry. That's really what's creating that, and wanted to make sure that I filled the space, because right now, look at that. That doesn't look too great. It needs to kind of envelop my edges. So boom, I added some more sabers to go around my edges. Makes it look 10 times better. And then here is an optical flare that will go from where I clasp, creating like a bright light here. Yeah, that's really it. Here's the same sparks effect, sparks footage, and a little smoke pop right there from footage crate as well. I shake my hand off and I point, and I'm like, well, start the video again. The hidden cut in this video is when my hands pop and the light gets really bright here. As you see, there's a second foot here. You see that? It's not motion blur, it's actually a hidden cut. And as it goes on, you see, this is the real cut in the video. I know I'm ruining the magic, but all in the name of teaching you guys some techniques if you guys really want to take up this editing stuff on your own. So that is super easy. That's literally it. That's all I did. I zoomed in my hands really fast, just like I did with the sword video. Used some motion blur and manipulated the scale and position, as you see right here. Boom, boom. And then hit the poses. Boom, 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 boom. Really slow, but I sped it up to make it really fast. And then I hit amateurs. And the lights come up. So basically all it is just sabers and optical flares. For amateurs, actually, did the same effect that I did on my body, created masks from text, which is something you do but just by right-clicking. You'll say create masks from text. The masks will be what your saber follows. I just used the arc reactor preset and manipulated that a bit to create this nice little aura around amateurs. Now that's going to be the same thing that I did with this last video, which is actually in another project. Here it is. All right, this is what it is.
So I'm a jerk, huh? Well, I guess I am a junior, educated, rich kid.
This is the junior educated rich kid. A lot of you noticed in the time lapse that I put a phallic symbol behind me, just to kind of drive home the fact that this character that I am portraying here isn't necessarily the nicest guy. But that also is a mask with saber effects. I'm gonna take a quick dive into that because this is PG. But I want to teach the kids the right things nowadays. All right, better to learn it here than on the streets. But you see, here it is, just a mask, and that's it. I'm gonna delete that right now, so you don't have to look at it. Boom, gone. I'm a junior educated rich kid. The video is literally the same exact effect, with or without it. But I always like to add my personal touch. So you're probably wondering how I made this. Remember what I said last time about creating saber effects around the words? That's literally what I did here. Added a bit of a turbulent displace. And that's it. That's literally it. Now here's the important one, the poof. Yeah, I like that little power thing right there. This is something I modeled exactly after what it looks like in the game. There's a dark black background that I just created out of a circle mask. As you see, it's just a circle, just a turbulent displace, and I feathered the mask, duplicated that, made it smaller and brighter, then added a VC color vibrance to some fractal noise, gave it a glow, and made it purple, and that gives you the poof. If you look in the video clip right here, this is pretty much the exact same thing that you're seeing there. All right, so boom, here I hit junior, educated, rich kid, and there's the flare again. All right, beautiful, rich kid, the turbulent displace. And how am I staying in the air for so long? Julian, how'd you do that? That's crazy. Oh my God. Well, let's turn everything that isn't me off right now. Let's just look at the levitating wizard that is Julian Bass. All right, awesome. Here I am. I am suspended, just really holding that position there. So there's a few things that I did here. The first thing was I started to cut myself out at the beginning of my jump. Then I just raised myself up into position, and then from there slowly continued to raise. But as you see, my feet and my arms get closer. They move down as if the momentum of the jump is still going up, to make it more natural. How did I do that? I used the puppet tool. This bad boy right here. You see all these points? Boom, 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 points everywhere. This puppet tool is able to manipulate my body in different ways, in weird ways, quite frankly. As you can see, I can do some weird stuff here. And honestly, I don't know why I haven't made any weird memes out of something like this. Give myself some really, really, really high pants here. Just dig my butt. Oh God, yeah, there's my neck. So the puppet tool is a extremely fun thing to work with. If you really got that kind of time, that kind of imagination, you can really do some amazing things. As you see, I've now removed my head. I think it's in my butt. But yeah, the puppet tool is amazing. You can do some great things, and that's just how I get that kind of really slight natural motion. Oh my God, as you see, oh my God, this is so horrible. I might incorporate something like that into my neck. Oh God, yeah, look at how brutal that is. That is some Mortal Kombat type stuff right there. Stuff of nightmares. All right, I'm scaring the kids. So, I hope you enjoyed that little breakdown. It was really short, I know, and it's not a step-by-step tutorial like most of you guys were asking for. But if you do really want a step-by-step tutorial, the next video that I make that hits 1 million views, I'll do a tutorial for you guys. That's a deal, huh? We're shaking on it. We're shaking. Oh, I'm shaking your hand. Wow, that's really weird. Through the computer or the phone or whatever you're watching this on. That's pretty wild. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember to stay creative.